What is going on, everybody? What is going on? The Catch fam. Hope you guys are doing phenomenal tonight, man. Hope you guys have all had a great Thursday. Hope you guys are ready for another live 2023 fantasy football mock draft with you guys, with the Catch fam. We're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to talk some fantasy football, not as much NFL news to go over today as the past 48 hours, but we did have our third day of free agency, so we've got a couple of things to go over. Nonetheless, we're going to have some fun. We're going to throw together a great mock draft, so hit that like button on the way in, hit that subscribe button. Of course, if you guys are new to the channel and hop in the live chat, guys, let me know what's popping. Like always, let's have some fun. Let's talk some fantasy football. So, mock draft was set for 10:45, so I'll give this, I don't know, one more minute or so, and then we'll go ahead and get this started. It looks like most everyone is here, so thank you guys so much to those of you on our Discord who hopped in this right away. It looks like everyone's about here, so yeah, we'll just start at 10:47 p.m. Eastern time. So, yeah, let's just look at a couple quick notes in terms of free agency, and like I said, we'll kick off tonight's mock at 10:47 p.m. Eastern time. So, the Bears have signed running back Donta Foreman to a one-year deal worth $3 million. It is 10:47, so let's start our draft. Let's do it. So I thought this move was interesting. I think it's a good move for the Bears, who obviously lost David Montgomery, right? I think he's a good fill and a good addition next to Khalil Herbert. But I won't be surprised if this is not the only move the Bears make at the running back position. I won't be surprised if, it's just a very, very deep draft class at the running back position. So we'll see what happens. But right now you got Donta Foreman and Khalil Herbert. Herbert will probably give you a little bit more upside as long as he's healthy in terms of PPR scoring formats. On the other hand, Donta Foreman, we've seen what he can do. A little bit older, but I think he can make an impact on this Bears offense. So I like the move. I think it's a good football move for the Bears at the end of the day. On top of that, tight end Robert Tonyan is also signing with the Bears, former Green Bay Packer. When healthy, Tonyan, a very, very good player, right? Didn't get injured this past season, but the year before, and then didn't necessarily, come back as strong as we would have liked to see. So obviously Cole Kmet is on the Bears. I'm a huge Cole Kmet fan. I think he's been a great late round value in fantasy drafts as well as fantasy mock drafts throughout this offseason so far. I still like Kmet, but I do think that this is another really good signing for the Bears. Gives them some good depth options, and I do think there's a possibility that we could see some volume taken away from Kmet, as much as I hate to admit it. But at the moment, I'm not going to panic. I still like Kmet as a late round value. Gardner Minshew is going to the Colts. I don't really know, in terms of fantasy, how much we need to touch on here. But I like this move for the Colts. I think it's a good fill-in in terms of a bridge/backup quarterback. Listen, I love Minshew. I'm all for Minshew mania. At the end of the day, he has a lot of flaws at the quarterback position. I don't think he's a bona fide starter by any means, but I like this move, and I do think if the Colts draft a quarterback, or if they, there are rumors that the Colts are going to enter the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes, so we'll kind of see what happens. I don't think that Minshew is the number one option or answer at the quarterback position for the Colts, and when we look at the Colts offense, at the end of the day, we've got Michael Pittman there, right? So there's not really a lot dependent on the quarterback position, in my opinion. I know there's a lot of people out there who have shares of Pittman in dynasty leagues and things like that. Why is Austin Eckler available at 1.10? I know he's looking for a trade, but that is just ridiculous to me that Austin Eckler would fall back this far. Very heavy receiver draft so far tonight. Interesting. Back to free agent news. That's really about it. Braxton Berrios, is going to the Dolphins. I love this move as a wide receiver 4, wide receiver 3 on this team. I love this. Braxton Berrios, I don't know why I can't say his last name tonight. Braxton Berrios had a lot of success, kind of as a, I mean, I don't know if I want to say a lot of success, but enough success on the Jets as like almost like a Swiss Army type, just can almost just do kind of gadget plays, right? Barrios, like what, 2 years ago, actually made some waves at the end of the fantasy season. So thought that was interesting. I don't think it's going to have a huge impact. You got Tyreek Hill there, right? And of course, you got Jalen Waddle there as well. The Buccaneers have signed free agent running back Chase Edmonds. I don't know that Edmonds is going to make a massive impact or take away a ton of volume from, from Rachaad White. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to make this pick at the same time while I talk, and there's a couple players that I really like right here. Ooh, this is a tough one. I mean, I'm just not ready to pass up Derrick Henry, but Josh Jacobs sitting there is really tough as well. There's a lot of good receiver value. And Travis Etienne, no quarterbacks, have got a lot of good talent there. I'll stick with the old guns. Give me Eckler and Henry to start this draft. But yeah, we have talked about Rachaad White, obviously at the moment looking like the bona fide starter for the Bucs, but I have kind of warned you guys throughout the short period of the offseason we've had so far that I really think the Buccaneers are going to move on from Leonard Fournette and be looking to add other pieces at the running back position. So this move did not surprise me at all. And don't get me wrong, Chase Edmonds, who definitely has some talent, different skill sets, is not going to necessarily be a running back who's going to take a ton of touches away from Rachaad White, but he's definitely a running back who can take some volume away. Let's see. Oh, and Leonard Fournette has been released officially. So the Buccaneers didn't officially announce that, but they have released Leonard Fournette, which is an interesting development, to say the least. So we've got that going, which is kind of what we were just talking about, right? So you have that as well. Outside of that, that's everything in terms of fantasy relevance. So a little bit of a breather, like I said, compared to the last 48 hours. So yeah, not a whole lot to necessarily dive into there, but definitely some moves we needed to talk about. So let's get into the live chat. Let's see how everyone is doing tonight. We got Made for TV _ in the house. What's going on, man? Always great to have you in the building. Hello. Hope you're doing fantastic. Box in the Jack, how are you doing? Great to have you in the house. Godfather, what's going on, everybody? How are you guys doing? Let me know in terms of today's free agent moves, what you guys thought overall, if anything stood out to you, or anything from the past 48 hours as well. What free agent moves, trades, everything is, bringing some interest to you. On top of that, there's some interesting reports around Jimmy Garoppolo going around. So Jimmy Garoppolo has been in the Raiders building today, but he's supposed to have a press conference today, like, hey, I'm Jimmy G, I play for the Raiders now type deal, right? Introductory press conference, and that got pushed back to tomorrow. And technically speaking, Jimmy Garoppolo has not signed with the Raiders yet. Both sides have agreed to terms, but he has not, put the pen to paper. So it'll be interesting. I'm not going to read too much into it. I have seen some stuff out there like, is Jimmy G actually going to sign with the Raiders? Is he going to Josh McDaniels, his new head coach? We'll see what happens. Ultimately, I think the Jimmy G thing probably has more to do with, him being in the building, meeting other players, meeting, members of the facility and organization. So, I don't know. Sometimes these things happen and it gets pushed back, but we'll see what happens. So, Made for TV likes Miles Sanders' landing spot to the Panthers. I don't dislike it necessarily. I like the fact that Chuba Hubbard is there. I do think that Miles Sanders will play his best football when there's another running back present as well, which is what the majority of NFL backfields are looking like anyways. Marco, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Appreciate you coming out tonight. What's up? Thomas, what's going on, man? Appreciate you tuning in while you're at work. Pray, what's up, my dude? Always great to have you in the building. J-Dub, Smokey, what's going on, man? Yeah, Smokey, keep your phone out of your pocket. Dara, what's going on? All I want is Fields for next draft. Yeah, man. I'm high on Fields as well. Godfather, thank you so much and congrats for being a member of the channel for 7 months, over half a year. Look at that. Mahomes going number 1 in the Dynasty draft. I can't blame you whatsoever, man. I'll be sitting there at 1.4. We'll see if I get Hurts or Burrow. I'm happy either way. Okie doke. I'm right back on the clock. Where do I want to go? Kind of have a hole at receiver. Man, oh man. Receiver position. Pretty heavy overall at the receiver position tonight. Let's take a look at, a lot of different directions I could go. We'll go early quarterback tonight. Let's go Hurts. Been a couple good mock drafts since we've done an early quarterback build. I've really been sticking with either like the Trevor Lawrence tier or just late round, like Daniel Jones, Kyler Murray combination, or Goff and Jones, Goff and Geno Smith and Aaron Rodgers. You guys know that I don't personally put a ton of value at the quarterback position in redraft, draft styles, right? So, but at the end of the day, it's always fun to throw together some different builds. So we'll go Hurts here on top of Eckler at 1.10, which is still blowing my mind. And then Derrick Henry at 2.3, which I'm okay with. Like I said, there's a lot of other players sitting there that I like. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, T. Higgins. All the receivers that went essentially in the second and third round, maybe outside of Scary Terry, Metcalf, Olave, Devonta Smith, I love as well. But Breece Hall, Josh Jacobs, Bijan Robinson, and Kenneth Walker, all very, very fair arguments for all of those running backs over Derrick Henry at 2.3. But, I still love me some Henry. So, like I said, we'll go with some old guns today. And that's how we'll start our draft. Eckler, Henry, Hurts. And as we move into the fourth round, I'll have the 4.3 selection. A lot of different players. I'm going to stick with the trend of the week. I'm going to go DJ Moore. I'm going to keep buying into the hype train, see how high up we can push DJ Moore's ADP as the offseason continues to progress. Brett says Rachaad White breakout season. Yeah, I mean, you gotta argue, we probably saw enough last year, but in terms of a breakout season, yeah, the volume should see a high uptick for sure. But I really think, like I said, Chase Edmonds probably not a major contributor, but we'll see some volume. And then on top of that, I won't be surprised if the Buccaneers add an additional running back on top of Chase Edmonds behind Rachaad White, especially with Leonard Fournette being released. But, hey, I love me some Rachaad White. We're going to have Baker at quarterback. Obviously, Godwin and Evans are both there at the moment, and Gage is still there. Still a good receiving room, and I think Cade Otton's a good young tight end. So there are pieces on this team. The defense is going to continue to be well coached. So it's an interesting division. Obviously, you got Carr on the Saints now, but outside of that, I don't see a ton of competition within the division. So, hey, I will tell you guys one thing. I'm 110% rooting for Baker. So we'll see what happens, man. Cinnabon, thank you so much for stopping by. What's up, bro? How are you doing, man? Albert, hello. What's going on, everybody? Appreciate you guys being in the house tonight. Albert, how do you feel about the Braxton Berrios signing? Oh, you guys can pray, of course, are loyal Dolphins fan. Like I said, I personally think it's a good football move. I think he's going to fit that offense well. I really, really do. Godfather, have a good night. Thank you for stopping by before you put the baby down. Cinnabon, I want to join the draft, but I'm not really interested in redraft right now. Just preparing for Dynasty, 100% fair. I just kind of hopped on Discord tonight. It looked like most of you guys were looking for a redraft mock. So maybe we'll hop into another Dynasty mock tomorrow. Maybe we'll run an Underdog draft. We'll see what we do. So, Albert, are you staying away from the Buccaneers receivers with Baker there now? No. I haven't really been staying away from Buccaneers receivers. Like I've liked Godwin more so far this offseason in comparison to Mike Evans. But no, I'm not too worried about it. Yes, is it a downgrade? Yes. When you look at the last 2 years, especially this past year, but the Buccaneers and Tom Brady just threw the football a ridiculous amount. So I don't know if they're going to have that same offensive scheme with Baker Mayfield at quarterback. If they do, then yeah, I love these receivers, right? Because as long as the volume is there, the production should be there, which you could argue like last season, the volume was there for Mike Evans. Production from a fantasy standpoint wasn't always there. Godwin was very, very consistent last year. So I don't want to say I'm staying away from them, but it's got to be at the right value, the consistency out of Baker, and like right now, Baker is presumed to be the starter. Baker Might be the starter to start the season. It might not be the starter the entire season. I mean, like I said, I'm rooting for Baker, but let's be realistic, right? On top of that, the Bucks could add another quarterback. They could draft a quarterback. We'll see what happens, right? I don't think they're going to draft a quarterback early, but Baker could, be their bridge quarterback for the year. And I do think that ultimately Chris Godwin holds good value where he's being drafted right now. Evans, I'm a little bit more leery on, so we'll see what happens. Pray Dolphins going to be so good this year. That's your team, bro. We're rooting for him. Where's Fournette going? Who in the world knows? I mean, there's a couple more shifts at running back out there that still need to happen, right? Joe Mixon is still with the Bengals. We're not sure if he's going to continue to be there. Dalvin Cook at the moment still on the Vikings. Let me go ahead and make this pick very quickly. Kamara is still with the Saints. Zeke is gone. Goodbye, Zeke. Hold on. Time is running out. We'll go Christian Kirk here. Love that pick personally. A couple players sitting here that I really like though. But Kirk has just been one of my guys all offseason long. A couple good running backs sitting around. For some reason, I saw Lamar Jackson available, and my mind started going places. But no way I needed that. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Fournette could be a back that could go to a multitude of different teams. He could go to a team like the Chiefs and play behind Pacheco, for example, or McKinnon if he gets re-signed. Think about Fournette. He's the type of player that the Chiefs go after in free agency, right? So, he could go to a team like that and not see as much volume. I really think Pacheco is going to be a stud this coming year. But, or he could go to a team, I don't know, literally anywhere at the end of the day, right? And like I said, there's a couple more shifts at running back that I still think are going to happen. So we'll see, right? The Cowboys just lost Zeke, right? Wherever Fournette goes, I think he'll probably be on a pretty friendly deal. So we'll see what happens. There are a lot of players sitting here that I really like. Really, really like. I'm going to go with my boy Tyler Lockett, though. A couple players I would have been really happy with right there, though. John, please stop pushing DJ Moore's ADP. I need to stack. Yeah, I'm on the high trade, bro. And you guys know, last season, right, when the Panthers traded for Baker Mayfield and we saw, DJ Moore's ADP just shoot up a round or so, I really caution you guys to not get too excited. And ultimately, that was one of the calls I got kind of right last season, right, when DJ Moore ended up being wide receiver 24 in full PPR scoring formats. Still had a pretty decent start to the season ultimately, and some good games in the middle there, and good games at the end, but a lot of inconsistency there, and just ultimately not the season we were expecting. 888 receiving yards, 7 touchdowns. Did play a full season too, right? But PJ Walker, quarterback, Baker, quarterback, Sam Darnold, quarterback. It's tough for receivers when they're switching around, who's throwing the football the entire season. But ultimately, DJ Moore has been very, very productive his entire career. And I think he's going to be a great fit at the end of the day for the Bears offense. So, especially in full PPR scoring formats, which at this point, a majority of people are playing anyways. I'm a huge fan of DJ Moore right now. So, listen, do I want to go out and rely on him all season as my primary wide receiver one? Looking at tonight's draft, he is my wide receiver one. Not necessarily, but going out and getting a guy like Christian Kirk and then Tyler Lockett, I feel pretty good. So, as long as the right depth is there, very, very high on DJ Moore at this point in the offseason. Brett, Bucks re-signed Levante David on a 1-year, $8 million contract. That's a great signing for them, a good friendly deal for them. And I think Levante David, when healthy, is a phenomenal linebacker. So, I saw some buzz that he could end up elsewhere. I think that's a very, very good signing for the Bucks. All right, Box and Jack J-Dubs taking a look at Monty going at 4.10. Yeah, and Monty for a couple weeks, really before he got, signed with the Lions, like, was a great value in best ball drafts, right? I've only done so many this offseason. I know J-Dubs, you brought this up multiple times, but he was a running back we were both going after in a lot of underdog drafts because his value was just so good. And in a lot of the builds that I go after personally, hero running back builds, zero running back builds, a lot of the times, right, you're looking for that good value at running back. His value in underdog drafts, redraft style mocks, and potentially even dynasty mocks is going to all be elevated now that he has a landing spot. But just don't forget DeAndre Swift is still going to be there and take away some sort of volume at the end of the day. Taylor says Monty and Swift going back to back. Yeah, I didn't even notice that. 4.10 and 4.11. Looks like we lost team 2, but we'll get through with just one auto here tonight. No worries. But yeah, I mean, back to back, listen, you kind of have that happen. It feels like year after year, there's just some sort of committee out there. And, you see that happen in a lot of drafts where, running back A and running back B are going back to back. And that can happen with receivers, too, on specific offenses. So, Cinnabon, everyone's buying to the Monty hype with the bar sip by Jamal Williams. Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing. Like, even if DeAndre Swift can stay healthy, which, I mean, I truthfully, 100%, really hope he can, because I'm a huge fan of DeAndre Swift. You guys know that. But even if he can stay healthy and plays a ton, at the end of the day, Monty could come in and be stealing some pretty hefty goal line work like we saw Jamal Williams do this past season. So we'll see what happens. Ultimately, I think it's going to be a very similar offense to what we saw last season. It does look like DJ Chark's going to be departing. The Lions may need to add some receiver depth. Listen, they might go out and draft a tight end in the first round as well. We'll see what happens. I love Hawkinson. I can understand, I guess, why they moved on from him ultimately, but at the end of the day, like, I loved Hawkinson on that offense as they started to kind of become an up-and-coming team, but it is what it is at the end of the day. All right, I'm going to go B-Rob here. Feel good about this running back room. Eckler, Henry, A.J. Dillon, Brian Robinson. Pretty good value there, in my opinion. Let me check one thing here. Let's go ahead and let's just make me as tiny as possible and keep moving along. Taylor, I tried to trade for Monty in a dynasty a couple weeks ago, but I wasn't able to work out a deal. Yeah, and I mean, Monty's sitting at age 25, a pretty decent age for dynasty leagues, but definitely has some injury history too. Nothing too severe, but it always feels more severe with a player like David Montgomery, who I've been a huge fan of, a huge supporter of in fantasy football for a couple of years now. Was your RB4 in 2020, right? It always feels more severe because there's a lot of lingering injuries. Like, he might suit up, he might play, but he was questionable all week, and then, like, you're not extremely confident in playing him. Like, that stuff as a fantasy manager definitely takes a toll on you, so to speak. But I still like Monty from a dynasty perspective. Albert asked, do you think the Bears are going to add another running back? Senior Cinnabon and J-Dubs both saying, Cinnabon saying I think they'll draft one. J-Dubs saying at least one more, yeah. Cinnabon, I'm hoping for Chase Brown in the 15th-ish. Yeah, I definitely think with how deep this running back class is, it would not surprise me at all if the Bears sign draft a running back at all. Pray, is Zeke retiring? I don't think so. We'll see what happens, though. Listen, I just want to put on record, you guys know I've said this 100 times, I think Zeke is a phenomenal running back, okay? Sometimes we get too caught up in fantasy football at the end of the day, but seriously, 2016 through 2021, Zeke was a top 13 back or higher. He was a top 9 back or higher every year except 2017, which is the year he had the suspension, only played 10 games. He only played 10 games that year, still had 983 rushing yards, 7 rushing touchdowns, 2 receiving touchdowns. He was your RB22 this past season, but he missed 3 games. You guys just got to keep in mind, he only gave you single digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times if you played through week 18, if you didn't, just 4 times. Very, very consistent. Every game he played between weeks 3 and week 16, he gave you double digits except for week 5 against the Rams, and that's when the Rams' run defense was playing really well this past season. Ultimately, Ezekiel Elliott has had an extremely productive career, and I just hate that Zeke gets so much hate. And I think that too many people are wrapped up in fantasy football, and just looking at this past year and looking at the difference between him and a young running back in Tony Pollard. Ultimately, over the past 8 years, 10 years, Ezekiel Elliott has been one of the best running backs in the in the league. Not the past 10 years, but yeah, about the last 8 years. Like, they were just Ezekiel Elliott's peak is the epitome of a running back. That's all I have to say. I just want to put it out there, which you guys have heard me talk about. I think Zeke is a great player multiple times. Albert, Damon Harris still free agent? Yes, he's still floating around out there. Mayday, what's going on, man? Always great to have you in the house. Hope you're doing fantastic tonight. Appreciate you stopping by. What's up? Where do I want to go with this next pick? Where do I want to go? So I do really want to run an underdog draft soon, because I want to kind of see, in terms of underdog ADP, how free agency has affected just overall ADP. Man, I was gonna go George Pickens there. I really like that pick. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up my tight end position. A couple players I like available at the moment, but I'll go with Evan Ingram. Ingram or Komet, but now with Tanya getting signed, I'm letting the hysteria get to me, getting a little spooked. I'm happy with Ingram right there, 9.10. Committee backfields are the way to go now, 100%. Yeah, so many teams out there are definitely switching to that motto for sure. Unless you just have a Christian McCaffrey or a Derrick Henry or a guy that you just can't afford to not feed, Did you see what Did you see what the Bills GM said about adding a bigger back to complement James Cook? I did not. No. I'm really hoping Cook can be a guy, though. So I'm hoping the Bears go and trade for Dalvin Cook. Yeah, it does seem like your guys' division just rotates players, right? Taylor, Lamar is saying he play on the tag of Ravens and him aren't able to get a deal done. He stays in Baltimore. Apparently found that interesting. Definitely interesting. Definitely interesting. I think Lamar is staying there. I just don't think there's any way that the Ravens don't match a potential offer. I don't think anyone else is going to end up with him at the end of the day. Give me Alan Lazard right here all day long. I'm loving my team tonight. I feel like I've gotten all kinds of good value. I love this core roster. We'll see how we wrap things up. So, into the 10th round we go, guys. You guys think Waller's tight end 7 next year? Well, let's see. We got Kelsey, Andrews, Hawkinson, Kittle, Goddard are definitely in front of him for me. I am probably going Freiermuth, Ingram, Komet before I'm going Waller. And I am not a fan of Kyle Pitts outside of Dynasty. I'm not. I'm full PPR, I understand it. I don't know if the Falcons are going to utilize him correctly this coming season. Coming off an injury in redraft formats, I'm just not there with Kyle Pitts. I wasn't there last season. I encourage you guys to not go after him where his ADP was last off season. That was a right call for the most part. I encourage you guys to sit him nearly every single week. And it did feel like the weeks I really encourage you guys to sit him were the only weeks where he scored touchdowns. But ultimately, I've not been a fan. So, yeah, I like all those guys more than I like Waller, but I still really like Waller. And, I think, when it comes to Freiermuth, Ingram, Komet, Waller, if you have the conviction of Waller, I think that's perfectly fine. The reason I did like Waller going into last season, and I'm still hesitant, is just because of the injury history purely. I think Waller's a great talent, a great football player, but when it comes to his consistency over the last 2 seasons, or really over, yeah, just the last 2 seasons. I'm sorry, after being your tight end 3 and tight end 2, 2019, 2020. I just can't trust it, but I really hope that I'm wrong on that. I truly, truly hope that Darren Waller is fully healthy this coming season, balls out for the Giants next to Daniel Bellinger at the tight end position. So we'll see what happens, but listen, when it comes to tight end position and redraft formats, I'm always looking for the best value. I think that Ingram, Komet, Freiermuth, even Njoku and Knox are giving you better value right now. And that's kind of same tier where Waller's going. I'm looking at Goddard all day long. The one tight end I haven't mentioned is Dalton Schultz, because at the moment I don't know how to read Dalton Schultz. I want to know what team he's going to be on, what offensive scheme he'll be under before I make any calls there. But I think that Dalton Schultz on the right team is absolutely going to be a productive tight end this year for sure. Let's see. What's up, Chase? Good to see you. What's up, Chase? Great to have you in the house, my dude. What's up? Thomas saw something on the Seahawks page that they would be interested in Fournette. That'd be a good signing for them. Yeah, good and older back behind K9. 100% agree. Marco finally sniped John. My life is complete. Oh, which player did you get? Oh, Pickens. Yes. I was gonna go Pickens. Let's see. I wasn't saying they should trade for Dalvin. I was saying the Bills should trade for Dalvin. Oh, to have the brothers. Okay, my bad. Yeah, I just feel like the Lions, Packers, Vikings, Bears do kind of like rotate and sign each other's players like on a pretty consistent basis, though. But I get what you're saying for sure. All right, you guys left Komet around. I'm going Komet here. And let me just take a look very quickly here, try and build a little bit of a queue. Oh, there was one other signing that I wanted to talk about today, and that's going to be Darius Slayton going back to the Giants. So I think it's a good move. When we look at this roster overall, I mean, I'm actually kind of surprised. Like, obviously they invested into Danny Dimes, and they went out and they got like everyone back that he had at the receiver position last year. So, well, except for Richie James, I guess, but Hodgins, Shep, and Slayton are all coming back, so it's just Richie James, the odd man out. Paris Campbell is gone. No, I'm so sorry. Paris Campbell is gone from the Colts and now is signing with the Giants. I thought that was a good move, too. So the Giants really, really investing at the wide receiver position. Not, absolute stud names or anything, but definitely putting weapons, so to speak, around Danny Dimes, with Darren Waller being added to this offense as well. So as long as, Barkley and Waller and Robinson and Shep and Slayton can stay healthy, I really think this offense is going to look good next year. Where do I want to go here? Let's go Isaiah Hodgins. I mean, we're talking about the Giants. Why not? So I feel like I'm in a really good position with this team. I'll probably just draft another running back, receiver, quarterback, like just best player available with that last pick. Then I'll go kicker and defense and wrap it up. I love this roster tonight. Very, very happy with how this turned out. I have faith in Lazard and Hodgins. So I will say that, I was really liking Hodgins as this offseason progressed. And now with, Shepard re-signing, Slayton re-signing, Randall Robinson presumably healthy, Waller there is going to be a little bit of shift in target share. We'll kind of have to see what happens. But the thing that I liked about Hodgins at the end of this past season and through the playoffs was his red zone production and his red zone targets. So, let's see. Do you think the Tanyan signing hurts Komet? No, I don't personally. I'm not too spooked by it. I do think his ADP will drop a little bit like we saw tonight. But I think it's a good football move by Chicago, a good signing. But I really, really like it for the Bears. And I do think, at times he'll have some productive games in terms of the receiving game. But ultimately, this is Komet's, position on this team for sure. Taylor Samaje, Javante, Cuff secured. I like it. Marco, I feel like the Paris Campbell sign was kind of underrated. The Giants wide receiver group doesn't have any stars, but they have so many underrated guys. 100%. I mean, Slayton, Hodgins, Shep, and Campbell with Waller, Bellinger, and Barkley out of the backfield. I would like to see them. I mean, the offensive line played really well last season, but just continuing to beef up that offensive line and to add more pieces to this defense. I really won't be surprised if the Cowboys, Eagles, and Giants make it back to the playoffs this year, which I love. I absolutely love when the NFC East is actually competitive. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I like the way the Giants look 100% right now. I agree. Let's see. All right, so into the 13th round. This will be the final skill position selection for most of you guys. And then we'll go kicker, defense. So if you guys want me to start taking a look at teams, let me know. And then we'll kind of wrap things up for the night. So a good little quick mock draft tonight. And I don't know what we're going to run into tomorrow, either a dynasty draft or an underdog draft. I'm definitely going to be really trying to I know I had taken some time off and kind of slowed down the pace, but I'm kind of back at a point where at the very least, I think I'll be hopping on and streaming and mocking with you guys in some capacity almost every single night of the week. So we'll kind of play it by ear, but I feel like I'm getting back to a good place where I feel like I'm a little bit more rested up in comparison to, beginning of last month, right? All right, Taylor, there's so much wide receiver value in these late rounds. 100%. So many guys I like at the end of these drafts. KJ Osborne, Isaiah Hodgins, Rondell Moore, Elijah Moore. As long as he stays with the Jets, I do think there's a possibility he gets traded. Some rookies like Zay Flowers out there, right? DPJ, Alan Lazard, Addison Pickens, Tony, Quentin Johnston. We've seen all kinds of good value from the 9th round forward at the wide receiver position. And a lot of those rookie receivers are going to bump up in, total ADP, once they're actually drafted. And then just looking at some of the receivers still available. I know I have Christian Kirk on this team. I know Calvin Ridley's going to be there, but I'm just going to go ahead and snag Zay Jones at 13.10. I think it's a great pick. He's still got Hunter Renfrow, Tyler Boyd, Claypool, Bobby Trees, Randall Robinson, Josh Palmer, Romeo Dobbs, Curtis Samuel, Sky Moore, Michael Gallup, MVS, Hyatt, John Mechie, Rice, Mims, Booty. Just Rashid Shaheed, Alec Pierce. There's just always depth at the wide receiver position and value at the wide receiver position. Undoubtedly towards the end of drafts. Still a lot of good rookie running backs available at the moment as well. Dwayne McBride, Chase Brown are really just falling to the very, very end of redraft mock drafts. And then on top of that, you got Tajay Spears, Zach Evans, Ackney, Bigsby, Vaughn. Just all kinds of players left at the running back position. So quarterbacks are kind of dried out. Geno's available. Some rookies still out there. Kenny Pickett. All the rookies are still out there, but Geno, in terms of redraft, probably your best available player. All right, so I could go kicker and defense here, or I could skip one and add Chuba Hubbard, Josh Palmer, a rookie running back, any of those receivers we just talked about. But I'm ultimately going to add the number 1 defense from last year and go with the Patriots here, and then we'll, draft a kicker and wrap tonight's mock draft up. Appreciate you guys hanging out tonight, man. It's been a great stream tonight. Yeah, if you guys want me to take a look at your team, of course, let me know, and we'll do some reviews. So Marco saying he really likes his team tonight, the 1.9. We got Tua time at 10.4 at great value. Trey Lance going at 13.9. I like that quarterback room. Bring some upside with Lance. I think Tua will be just fine next year. I love Goddard, of course, at 7.9, a great tight end 1. Aaron Jones, I love Gibbs at 5.9. You got Jamal Williams, Raheem Mostert, so good value at the running back position throughout this draft. Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, Calvin Ridley, Cooper, Pickens, Rondell Moore, very, very, very good wide receiver, amazing wide receiver value throughout this draft. Danny Carlson at kicker, and we'll go defense to wrap things up. So starting 2-1, Goddard, Adams, and Wilson, Jones, and we'll say Jamal Williams, but definitely high opportunity that Gibbs takes that over. Then you're flexing Ridley and Cooper and Pickens. So, yeah. I mean, you still got a couple receivers and running backs and a second quarterback on the bench. I agree. I think this is a very, very good team. Really good job at identifying value throughout this draft at multiple positions, man. So, definitely a good draft tonight, my dude. Grade the Bears off season. All right, in the last 7 days, the Bears have added DJ Moore, Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, Nate Davis. I love all those signings. DeMarcus Walker, Travis Homer, PJ Walker, Andrew Billings, Robert Tonyan, and Donta Foreman. A 2023 second-round pick, a 2024 first-round pick, a 2025 second-round pick. Now, obviously, they lost Montgomery. But I think they're going to draft a running back on top of adding Donta Foreman and Travis Homer behind Herbert. I mean, you kind of got to say this is a solid B. You know, like they spent some bank on Edmonds. I think Edmonds is a great football player. But the thing is, they have the money to spend, right? So it doesn't really matter. A very, very, very solid B plus. You know, we'll see how. I mean, it's very, very close to an A. And I do think they've probably had the best free agency period out of any team so far. I mean, do you guys agree or disagree? Taylor, 1.12. If you're going over teams, of course, man. What we do tonight, Lamar and Goff, I like that combination. If you are going to go after Lamar and redraft at the moment, you got to get a guy like Goff or Danny Dimes or Russ, Rodgers, Cousins, somebody. Knox at tight end I'm good with. You might want to consider a second tight end behind him. Lamb, Brown, Debo is ridiculous. Treylon Burks, Randall Robinson, some good late round value. Let me very quickly add a kicker to this team. Let's go Matt Gay, just in honor of him signing a massive deal. Where were we? Running backs, Najee, Dobbins, Javonte, Rashad White, and Pirine. I mean, yeah, man. Good running back value throughout the draft. Like I said, your wide receiver room is crazy. Ravens defense, Jake Elliott. So let's say you're starting Lamar or Goff. Either way. Starting Knox, Lamb, Brown, Harris, Dobbins. Flexing Debo. I'm going to argue Rashad White is your second flex, but that still leaves you with Javonte Williams, Treylon Burks, Samaje Perine, Randall Robinson on the bench. Very, very solid team tonight, man. I'd feel really good about this squad. Really, really good team. Cats at the 1.8. Let's see what we did, man. T-Law and Joku. I love tight end and quarterback room. JT Algier, Charbonnet, Damian Harris, and then we've got Roshan Johnson out of Texas. So a good-looking running back room, especially JT Algier, Charbonnet. I would feel pretty confident there. Damian Harris, we'll have to see where he ends up, but 11.8, that's fine. Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Chris Olave, Keenan Allen, Bateman, Tony, Chark, Mechie, good receiver room. Yeah, great receiver room here. So starting T-Lon and Joku, JT and Algier, Amon-Ra and Olave, flexing Keenan Allen and Tony. Probably to start the season at least. But I love Charbonnet, man. I think he's a great value at 7.8. I think Bateman's a solid value at 8.5. We'll have to see how kind of the rest of the players work out. John Mechie, a really, really good value at 15.8, though. But, yeah. Man, you guys killed it tonight. Teams are looking great so far. Box in the Jack, we got Danny Dimes and Gino. Kittle at tight end, you're good there. Kupp, Smith, Hopkins, Dotson, DPJ. Whew. Just a beautiful wide receiver value. Bijan, Cam Akers, Hunt, Gainwell, Jeff Wilson. I'm good at that. Good running back value. Kind of hero RB, but I love Akers at 5.5. Danny Dimes at QB, Kittle at tight end, Kupp and Devonta Smith, Bijan and Akers, Hopkins and Dotson, or Hopkins and Gainwell in the flex. Leaves you with some good depth at running back and wide receiver on the bench and a quarterback behind Danny Dimes in case he has any inconsistency. Great defense in the Cowboys, great kicker, and kicker the Dicker. So I always say that. It's Dicker the kicker, excuse me. But yeah. Team looks great, man. You guys killed it tonight. Another great build. All right, Taylor gang. What's going on, man? How are you? Mahomes and Captain, you like that? Kirk Cousins. Higbee and Nkonkwo. You're good there. Good depth at both positions. Good value. and Higbee and Conquo. C-Mac, Chubb, Connor, Penny, Tucker. Great running back. Really, really good value. And I mean, obviously, you went pretty heavy early, but you still got Drake London, Ayuk, J-Mo, Thomas, and Myers. I mean, does this receiver room jump out at me? No, but is it really, really good overall value? 100%. A lot of upside here, too, at least with J-Mo. And if you can get Thomas healthy and if Myers comes into the right fold in that offense. So I would say it's a pretty good squad. Starting Mahomes and let's say Higbee. Although I don't know who's going to be throwing the football at the moment. C-Mac and Chubb, London and Ayuk, flexing Connor, and let's say J-Mo for the upside, which leaves you with Michael Thomas, Penny, Myers, Tucker, and Conquo, and Cousins on the bench. Yeah, good drafting tonight, guys. Seriously, I love every team I've looked at so far. Let's see. All right, anyone else? J-Dubs. I totally skipped over you. I'm so sorry, my dude. What we do? We got Fields and Watson. You're good there. Andrews and Freiermuth. I was a little mad. I wanted Freiermuth, but I think it's a great pick. Great combo with Andrews and Freiermuth, man. Diggs, Metcalf, Pittman, Watson, Elijah Moore. Pretty solid. Breece Hall, Madison Mitchell, and then we've got Condre Miller at TCU, Jets defense, and Butker. So, good late round running backs, but still a little thin ultimately at running back behind Breece Hall. But outside of that, I really like this team. I mean, you're starting Fields and Andrews or Fields and Freiermuth either way. You're starting Hall, and you're going to have to start Madison. If you're not, then you're starting Mitchell and hoping he steals enough touches. Maybe Miller at some point down the road in the season, right? Starting Diggs and Metcalf, then you're flexing Pittman and Watson. You don't really have an option. So running back's a little bit light. Bench is a little bit light as well, but other than that, I think this is a good team. I think the core roster is really good. I love both tight ends, love the quarterback room. I do think there's some really good receivers. I just think the depth at running back could potentially hurt you, but kind of having a hero running back build in a redraft format, I'm not against. So this build could absolutely work out for you at the end of the day for sure. All right, Savage Joe, what we do tonight, my dude? Let me get a sip of water very quickly. All right, Prescott at quarterback. Pitts and Ertz. I'm good at that. I really, really am hoping Ertz is playing this coming season. According to Sleeper, his rehab's going well. But you got Pitts in front of him, so you're good there. Hill, Godwin, Williams, Sutton, Renfro, good receiver room. This receiver room would have been absolutely stupid like 2 years ago. Jacobs, Cook, Mixon, Singletary, Patterson. Once again, this running back room would have been wild like 1 to 2 years ago. But Cook, I think will be okay regardless of what team he goes on. Mixon, we'll have to see what team he lands on. But ultimately, it's still good value at 3.6 and 4.7. Singletary's still a free agent. I think he might be back on a team-friendly deal with the Bills. Patty and Cheese, be interesting. We'll see kind of how his outlook looks. But I think if is he still under contract with the Falcons? Yeah, he is. So I think Algier is going to be the guy, but we'll see what happens. Niners defense, beautiful. Tucker, probably didn't have to go Tucker at 10.7, but I'm not going to knock you for having Tucker on your team, right? But starting Prescott and Pitts, Jacobs and Cook, Hill and Godwin, you're in a really good position at the flex. Like you got Mixon, Mike Williams, Sutton, Singletary, Patterson, and even Hurts and Renfro. I mean, there's a lot of question marks around those guys in terms of where they're going to be potentially playing, but these are all good veteran players. So did you come out of your draft potentially with a really good team? Yes. Are you going to have to make some moves throughout the season in terms of trades and the waiver wire? Definitely, potentially. But outside of that, a good core roster for sure, and you have some flexibility at your bench as well, including your flex. So, yeah, I think the team looks pretty solid overall, man. So, great drafting tonight, man. You guys absolutely killed it. Really, really liked your guys' teams tonight. So, yeah, man. Do me a favor and hit that like button if you guys haven't done so already. We'll kind of take a look at my squad, and then we'll wrap up for the night. Quick little stream tonight. I got like no sleep last night. I just could not sleep. So, but I did not want to miss tonight's stream for anything. So, I got Hurts at QB, Ingram and Komet. I love that. Love it. Eckler, Henry, Dillon, Robinson. Just 4 running backs, but in redraft, I'm not. Like, especially when I have 2 guys that I believe in, then 2 younger guys behind them that I believe in. I feel really good there. DJ Moore, Christian Kirk, Tyler Lockett, Alden Lazard, Isaiah Hodgins, Zay Jones. 6 receivers. I believe in all of those receivers. I think this is really good value. Do I have an absolute stud like an Amon-Ra St. Brown, like a Devontae Adams, like a Waddle, like a CeeDee Lamb? No. But I believe in all these guys, and I think we got really good value all around. Pat's defense, Matt Gay, love this squad. That's all I'm going to say. Drafter of the night. Ooh, I got to try and remember that since you guys have started to ask. I really thought you guys drafted really well tonight. I'm kind of close to going Taylor. I really, really like this team, but tight end, I love Knox, but I'm a little bit worried. This team has had a lot of good value. I mean, a lot of really, really good value. I like Marco's team as well. I really like this team. Tua and Lance, Goddard, Adams, Wilson, Jones, Gibbs, if he can step up, right, then Ridley and Cooper or Pickens. Really, really good-looking team. Cats had a nice-looking squad tonight. J-Dubs had a good team. Box and the Jack Taylor gang. I mean, you guys just drafted really well all around tonight. Really, really well. So I like my team a lot tonight, too. Obviously, we lost Team 2, and he got... It's always funny, the auto picks, like Kamara, Fournette, Zeke, Schultz, Cooks, Wilson, Thielen, Allen Robinson, like all guys are just completely being faded right now. So it's funny. But really, I thought you guys killed tonight's mock. So Taylor's going to go and Conquo over Randall, but I didn't realize we're doing kicker indeed till the last minute. I like Cat's team a lot. Yeah, I thought you guys both had really good teams. But a lot of good drafting tonight, guys. I really, really think you guys did a great job throwing together squads tonight. 100%. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up. I need to be up a little bit earlier for work tomorrow. So I appreciate you guys coming out tonight. I appreciate you guys drafting with me. Appreciate you guys hanging out and talking some fantasy football as always. So tomorrow we'll hop into another mock. I don't know if it's going to be a dynasty mock, underdog draft, redraft, whatever it may be. But we're going to have some fun tomorrow and talk some fantasy football as always. I am pretty interested in how the underdog ADP has changed. So keep an eye on it. We'll probably hop on at like 11 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, maybe a little bit earlier. So we'll probably run an underdog draft tomorrow, and then afterwards, maybe we can do an off-air dynasty or redraft mock, whatever you guys are looking for. So, yeah, man. Taylor, have a great night. Appreciate you, man. Marco, great to see you. Have a great night, my dude. When are we starting up dynasty? You mean the actual the actual draft itself? I haven't necessarily decided. So yeah. I think, so the week I chose, what is that, May 6th? We'll have to, let me take a look at a couple things, J-Dubs, and let me know your thoughts on Sleeper as well in the league. I'm just here to talk about the Bears being one of the 20 mods. Hey, man, we got to have the mod squad in full force. All right, Thomas, Senior Cinnabon, J-Dubs, Marco, Taylor, Savvy Joe, Jeff, Boxing the Jack, Cats, Albert, Mayday, Brett, Godfather, Pray, Dara, Smoke at the Cat, Made for TV, everyone else who stopped by, everyone else who hung out tonight. Thank you guys so much for spending part of your night here at the channel. You guys know what to do, man. Check out the links down below. Follow us on Instagram, join our Discord, smash that like on the way out, hit that subscribe button if you guys are new to the channel. You guys know what it is. So I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Everyone have a safe night, and thank you guys so much for drafting with me and joining me for another fantasy football mock draft here at The Catch. With that, I will say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening, and remember, you saw it here on The Catch.